Creativity and community are absolutely vital in challenging times. Welcome to Syncreate, a show where we explore the intersections between creativity, psychology, and spirituality. We believe everyone has the capacity to create. Our goal is to demystify the process and expand the boundaries of what it means to be creative. We talk with visionaries and change makers and everyday creatives working in a wide range of fields and media, from the arts to science, technology, and business. We aim to illuminate the creative process from imagination to innovation and everything in between. I'm Melinda Rothaus, and I help individuals and organizations bring their dreams and visions to life.
I'm Charlotte Gullick, and I'm a writer, educator, and writing coach. We are the co-authors of a book on the creative process, also called Syncreate. At Syncreate, we're here to support your creative endeavors. If you have an idea for a project or a new venture, and you're not sure how to get it off the ground, find us at syncreate.org. Our book, now available in both print and audiobook format, walks you through the stages of the creative process so you can take action on your creative goals. We offer resources, creative process tools, and coaching to help you bring your work to the world, including our monthly creativity coaching group. We'd be delighted for you to join us. We'd also love to hear your feedback on the show. Please drop us a line at info@syncreate.org. We're looking for feedback on how we can improve the show, what's resonating for you, and what future topics you'd like us to cover. Hey everyone, welcome back to the Syncreate podcast quickie, where Melinda and I are just sharing some thoughts on creativity and how you can use them to improve and enjoy your life.
Yes.
So, I think people around me are sick of hearing me talk about this book, 10 to 25. It's about the adolescent brain. It's by David Yeager. It's got a ton of research in it. It's just, as a parent, as a teacher, it's really cool. And I've been thinking about it as it relates to creativity and the idea that we have a coach or a mentor inside of us. So that internal coach, and how does it speak to us, and how do we navigate expectations in relationship to that inner voice, or that inner coach or mentor. So Yeager proposes that the current paradigm that we have now is the enforcer and the protector. The enforcer is the mentor with really high standards and doesn't believe that supports are necessary. The protector's on the other side, wants to lower standards and give high supports. Yeager says that we need to have both really high standards and really high supports. And I think this is, for me, it's just I want to say boggling, mind opening to think that the way that I can ask myself to try out new things is I want to learn to write a novel of this kind of genre. That's high expectations. And then am I empowering myself for success? Am I giving myself the tools, the opportunities, the support that I need in order to get there? And I don't know how it is in other mediums, so it'll be good to hear you speak about this as a musician.
Mm-hmm.
But I think so a lot of times people come into writing with a lovely naive notion that, well, if I have talent, I'll be good at it right away. Um, you're like, and then you're not generally. And then you're like, well, I guess I'm not a writer because I don't, so like thinking about how we set expectations for ourselves with our creativity and what kind of supports. Is that a coach, a writing coach? Is that a class? Is that a new book? Is that a podcast? What could that be that allows us to meet that standard so that we do succeed, and then, with joy?
Yeah, and it's just interesting because it's like, why does it have to be either or? Why not both? Like,
Yeah.
like you're saying, like we live in this kind of world, I think, where things are black or white. They're sort of one extreme or the other. But yeah, we can have aspirations and high expectations for ourselves, but we can also be kind to ourselves and ask for help and find the support we need, including with other people in community.
I also think it's really helpful in like self growth or self improvement. Yeager talks about this idea of logistical flexibility.
Mm,
So, particularly for teachers, like a college student has a family emergency, old school thinking is you get it done. Um, or you take the incomplete. But could that student still meet the same standards, but have some logistical flexibility? They need 2 weeks to go see their family, and then they can complete the project. Um, and I think that's been really helpful because I think I am a very kind teacher, and then I'm like, am I just soft? Um, am I just soft? And I accept late assignments. But because I want the student to do the assignment so that they get the value of the assignment versus just being penalized and feel behind. And so when I heard that phrase, like logistical flexibility, like, oh, that's what I am. That's what I'm doing. And I want to have that with myself. Like,
mhm,
um, I write novels very, very slowly,
mm,
like so slow. Like, but now I'm okay with that because I have very high standards for myself. And one of the ways that I need high support is time.
yeah. Yeah, and time can be hard to find.
Mhm.
Yeah, it makes me think about also in coaching, we talk a lot about the kind of internal critic or the saboteur, right?
Mhm.
And it's usually there to try to keep us safe in some way, you know. But then we also talk about the inner coach, or like even in meditation, they say like ultimately you are your own best meditation teacher, right? And it's like we have this wisdom and we kind of know like what we need to do, but how can we um ensure that our self-talk maybe is less on the critical side and more on the positive, encouraging side?
Recently I was involved in this pretty big event, and then usually what happens afterwards is, I just feel shame. "Oh, I
Mm.
said that in public?" Or, like, "I can't," or, "I was that vulnerable," and then, Brené Brown talks about the shame, or the vulnerability hangover.
Mhm.
Uh, the night after I was going to sleep after the event, I it started to happen, and I started to feel that kind of shame wave, and so my coach said instead, "You did really well."
Mhm.
Really well, and that's how I let myself just say that over and over
Yeah.
rather than kind of sit in that feeling of, I was too much in some way. So I do think f it was a very physical shift from critic to coach.
Yes.
Um
Yes. Yeah, that's beautiful. And I think it just goes to show again, Lama Dorje, who I was just speaking with, was talking about, taking time at the end of the day to just like inventory the day and see what we're grateful for, as well as maybe what we might have done a little bit differently or what we might want to do next time. But just even acknowledging our successes, right? And just what we're grateful for at the end of the day is a way of kind of shaping our self narrative.
I think I've been talking a little bit about, like, contributions. At the end of the day, kind of going, what were the contributions that I made today?
Mhm.
Like, and one, I was walking down the hall and a colleague said, "Could I have a hug?"
Mm.
And I'm like, "Of course." And she was shaking and I don't know what was going on with her and just, you know, h- hugged her for a little while and um, made her laugh. And then that was a huge contribution in her day.
Yeah.
And I think that kind of generosity towards others starts with that generosity towards ourselves and that coach who's helping us move in the direction of the person we want to be rather than demanding with judgment that we must get there.
Yes. Absolutely. Great. So what's our pro tip for today?
Our pro tip for today is to consider your self talk. And this can be very challenging because we're like, I don't have any self talk, but, and, or, um, It doesn't my self-talk isn't in explicit words, but it might be feelings, like, am I feeling generous toward myself after I just had that really difficult conversation? So I think it's that check-in to kind
Mhm.
of, um, I think, like, what's the atmosphere inside me? Is it judgmental? Is it supportive? Is it accepting? Is it saying, "Hey, flawed human, you just said something really difficult," rather than, "That was a stupid way to say that." So I think paying attention, and if you're feeling really brave, write it down so you can start to gain some data, because I think data can give you perspective like, "Oh, I was feeling crappy about myself 7 hours of the day. Like, this is not acceptable. We must work on this."
Yeah, I know. I was just talking with a friend about, how sometimes we have certain gifts or talents, but we downplay them.
Mhm.
Like, "Oh, I don't know, that's weird," or, "Oh, I don't wanna talk about it," or, "I don't wanna be in the spotlight," or whatever, but just, like, acknowledging ourselves for what we are bringing to the table in any given situation or context.
And does our inner voice, um, coach or critic, does it help us celebrate or does it help us shrink?
Yeah.
Just trying to pay attention again to the inner atmosphere. Um, there's that book, The Untethered Soul,
Yeah.
um, and it talks about if most of us, if we had a roommate that talked to us the way that we talk to ourselves, we would evict them.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Be be a kind inner roommate to
Yes,
yourself.
be a kind inner roommate.
Find and connect with us on YouTube and social media under Syncreate. If you enjoy the show, please subscribe and leave us a review. And again, we'd love to hear from you. So if you have feedback on any of our episodes, you've tried out the pro tips, you have thoughts on potential guests or topics, please drop us a line.
We're recording today at Record ATX Studios in Austin with Charlotte, me joining us from the Hudson Valley. The podcast is produced in collaboration with Mike Osborne at 14th Street Studios. Thanks so much for being with us and see you next time.